Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So all across this country, we have states that pass these laws that they expect us to follow that are clearly unconstitutional. Now, if your state decided that just tomorrow, they're going to all of a sudden ban free speech, would you follow that law? Probably not, right? So what these states do is they decide to chip away your rights piece by piece by piece and expect people to follow these small laws that eventually end up infringing on the right completely. And it's no longer a right, it's now a privilege granted to you by the state. Well, there is one state out there in particular right now that is showing massive civil disobedience, which in some cases is the only way to put a stop to something. So we're going to be talking about this massive civil disobedience that's happening right now, and you guys just won't believe the numbers. I mean, we're talking about assault weapons registration, magazine bans, all sorts of new laws that this state has recently passed, and pretty much nobody is complying, and it's pretty awesome. So let's talk about where it is and what's going on. Now, real quick before we get started, I want to thank you all very much for watching this video. We are on our final push to 500,000 subscribers here. So if you have an extra second, it's free. Hit that subscribe button, that little bell notification will let you know when new videos come out. And let's hit that 500,000 number before the end of the year. Thanks. Let's get to it. Okay, so you guys might be familiar with the so-called assault weapons ban, magazine ban, restrictions, limitations, and registration that are taking place in the state of Illinois under Governor J.B. Pritzker. You guys might be aware that the deadline for registration in that law is coming up fairly soon. I made a video about this in the past, but that video was back in October when registration had only been going for just under a month. So basically on October 1st, people were allowed to start registering their arms. Now they have until January of 2024, but now we're just about 2 months into this registration process. At the time, it was something like, I think when I made the first video, it was something like 0.001% of the population had actually registered. And that was a phenomenal number. I mean, nobody was registering, but we didn't know what was going to happen, right? Registration just started. Sometimes people, are lazy, or sometimes people just kind of sit on things. They intend to do something, but, it takes a little bit of time to get motivated to actually do it, right? So kind of had to wait a little while. Well, now it's almost been 2 months. What do the numbers look like now? Well, now we're sitting at only 3,500 people that have registered. And that might kind of seem like a big number, but in Illinois, you're looking at 2.4 million firearms owners. 2.4 million, and only 3,500 of them have registered, and there's only 1 month left. So I don't think we're going to see any massive spike. I was wondering what was going to happen. Maybe after the first month that number would start to go up, and I was hoping it would stay low, but I wasn't sure. But now we're looking at, again, 3,500 of 2.4 million people. That means that everybody else, all the other, 2.3 something million people have decided, nope, I am not going to do this. I am not going to register. I'm going to hang on to what I have, and the government doesn't have a right to know about it. So obviously those numbers are great, right? Whenever you have more than 99% non-compliance, obviously the people are not on board with what you're trying to do. But the bigger picture here is overturning it completely. We obviously need to overturn this law, which was pretty much rushed through overnight. I mean, they did not follow their standard procedures. Public comment periods, nothing like that was followed in Illinois. They basically took 48 hours and said, all right, we're just going to come up with this law and we're going to pass it and we're going to force it on the people. Well, there's been some lawsuits in this case. Unfortunately, you end up in front of activist judges sometimes at the district court level, and these judges could care less about whether or not they're right or whether or not they're wrong, or whether or not there's any Supreme Court precedent. They don't care about the rule of law. They care about the agenda. And that's kind of what we had happen here, where an injunction was denied in this case. And the judge basically said that Illinois was allowed to do what they did when they created this law. So this went up to the 7th Circuit. 7th Circuit pretty much agreed. Now it is on appeal en banc. So it is going to be heard by the full panel of the 7th Circuit, excuse me. So if the 7th Circuit decides that they're going to agree with Illinois, which is, something that we're kind of experiencing right now out of the 9th Circuit in the state of California. But if the 7th Circuit decides that, we're just going to go ahead and side with the state, regardless of Bruin, regardless of Heller or any other Supreme Court precedent, well, now we get to take it up to the Supreme Court. That means that there are multiple appellate courts right now that have cases ready for the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court takes it, I'm pretty sure we all know where it's going to end up. It's going to end up with all of the states having their bans completely overturned. Now, it's not just the ban. They also have mag restrictions, looking at, very California-like, right? Maxed out at 10 rounds unless it's in a handgun magazine, which is maxed at 15. So there's different types of restrictions that go along with this. It's not just the ban itself. Now, even if people choose non-compliance here, the issue is also that nothing new is going to be coming into the state. So people that have what they have them, but you can't go into a shop and find them ever again because they're not going to be imported into the state anymore. That means that future generations that want them are not going to be able to get them. And that is obviously, on top of everything else, completely unconstitutional. So again, you're going to see that supply's gone. End of the year, supply is going to be gone. There's nothing that you're going to be able to do about that because FFLs are not going to want to lose their license. These people aren't going to risk their livelihoods and bring in something they shouldn't. But at the same time, it's you got what you got, and that's kind of how it sits right now. So we have to overturn this. Now, here's something else to consider, right? So we have this massive 99+% non-compliance, but the same goes for the county sheriffs. There is over a 90% non-compliance with sheriffs. Sheriffs are saying they are not going to enforce this. They're not going to be arresting people for it. They're not going to be taking them to jail. They're just simply saying that this is completely unconstitutional and they will not enforce an unconstitutional law. So that's a good sign. You have the people that are saying, no, we're not going to have it. You have law enforcement saying, hey, no, it's unconstitutional. We're not going to have it. The people do not support this. And so with that much pressure, I think that we might see a win here. Now, this is kind of reminiscent of what we saw in New York. I believe in New York, by the time the registration period was up when they had their ban, it was something like 44,000 people, again, out of millions, ended up registering. So there was, again, a mass non-compliance issue in New York, just like Illinois. And that's kind of what we need to see. Now, New York's law took effect. This is all pre-Bruin, and the SAFE Act has been around for quite a while now, even though there's still multiple challenges out against it. But the SAFE Act has been around for a while. That's currently being challenged. What's happening in Illinois is being challenged in California, in Washington, in Oregon. I mean, you name it right now. Just about all of these laws are being challenged. They're all at the appellate court level, and they're all ready for the Supreme Court. So, again, even though it seems tough right now, I have a very good outlook on this one, and I am optimistic that we will see all of these bans overturned nationwide. I mean, who knows? Maybe even as early as next year. So the thing is that you just got to keep on it, right? You can't give up on these. You can't stop talking about them. You can't stop, what you're doing right now. You have to just simply stay on top of it. So again, I think it is really interesting to see what's going on in these different states and how people are responding to these so-called laws that, again, are clearly unconstitutional. I wanted to tell you about them because those numbers they make me smile. They make me happy, and I thought you guys would be interested in that. Thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. Have a great day.